Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Immortal Hulk, Great Power. Yeah, this is a one-shot. It is not written by the typical team of Al Ewing. It's not drawn by Joe Bennett or colored by Paul Mounts. This is an entirely different creative team on the book, which is suspect. And I'm going to get into that and a whole lot of other stuff when I start talking about this book, which is going to be after I talk about who made the book. So let's crack this puppy open. This issue is called Great Power. May have said that. Tom Taylor is the writer. George Molina on pencils. Adriano Di Benedetto and Robert Poggi on inks. David Curiel on the colors. VC's Corey Petit on letters. Jorge Molina on the cover art, and Max Fuimara doing the cover art. And of course, Immortal Hulk. Well, the Hulk was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, but you got to give the Immortal Hulk to Al freaking Ewing. So, look, real quick history. I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't like this book. Okay, just if you loved this book, I don't know how much you're going to enjoy this review. I'm just pointing this out. I really didn't like this book, and I'm going to get into the reasons why. First, I want to give you like the setup for it. I love what is happening on the actual Immortal Hulk book right now. Al Ewing, Bennett, Mounts, these guys are a team that should never, ever be broken up. And I mean, the success that they're having with this book, dude, I seriously cannot stress enough. They beat Batman. Nobody beats Batman. Nobody beats Batman. Maybe it was also like the perfect poison because not a lot of people were happy with Tom King on Batman, so it is what it is. But I mean, dude, nobody beats Batman. And suddenly Immortal Hulk just came up and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna knock you out the sales for a little while. Boom shakalaka baby. So that's something else, man. Like, Ewing cannot be disputed for what he's doing with that book. Like, just that's a really big deal. Then we turn around, and I know there's some people who don't like the politics in there, whatever. Honestly, that's on you. I can't imagine putting a limit on somebody for their take on politics, because then we wouldn't have an Alan Moore. You know what I'm saying? And I could keep on going on, but we wouldn't have an Alan Moore. And that right there is, for me, I would not want to live in a comic book world without an Alan Moore. That's just me. So now we're going to look at this comic book in and of itself. I think the preview pages are gone by now. I hope they're gone by now. 2.5 minutes in, they're usually gone by now. So let's look at this one thing on this comic book that I really, really liked. And there's a couple things on this comic book, this image that I don't like, but this image right here, the image by itself, I love this. The Hulk, this big, larger-than-life green monster that's radiation infused, leaving at the end of the day by walking into the water to just, go away, to leave. Holy crap. How Godzilla is this? Like, this is, I feel like I got Blue Oyster Cult. Godzilla! History shows again and again. Yeah. That. Go play that song. That's your theme track for this ending. Kind of. Anyway, I loved this. I absolutely love this. I almost feel like I should hear the sound of Monster Zero playing in the background. Again! No, like, this was awesome. I love this. This is great symbology right here. Freaking fantastic. Taylor saying, draw this. Molina drawing it. Wow, this was good. I loved this. It's probably the only thing I actually liked on the comic book. Yeah, seriously, that bad. That bad. Look, first off, everybody's known for certain things. Every single writer, artist is known for certain things. And I'm trying to get my grip on, who's good at this, who's good at that, who's good at all the different little parts of different comic books, right? The thing that I usually look at with Tom Taylor is I see this guy as somebody who can find a character and possibly even a team, but a character, and he latches onto this character, he really studies the heck out of the character, and he turns around and hands it right back to you. Certain writers are really good at that. Jim Zub is somebody who I always say is fantastic at doing that. And Zub is probably better at Taylor at doing that. But Taylor's big strength, when he does that, he turns around and gives a very unique, original story that kind of makes you go, oh, I never thought about it that way. And it's brilliant. And more than that, he usually takes really brave leaps. Funny, I'm talking about Hulk with leaping, right? He takes these brave leaps. If you hear the snowplow outside, welcome to Canada. real talk, this guy, he'll do things that you'd think right away, this isn't going to work. Why would you do this? This isn't going to be great. And if you choose to stick with the book and read on, you're like, damn, okay, kudos, props, my man, he's got this, right? Yeah, he does that in this book, but he doesn't do that with the Immortal Hulk. He does it with Spider-Man, right? He doesn't do it with Spider-Man. Fantastic Four shows up. He does it with that, right? No, he doesn't do it with any member of the FF. Well, Loki's in this book. He does it with, no, he doesn't do it with any character in the book. He does it with Al Ewing. He actually does it with Al Ewing. And that's a huge mistake because Al Ewing is still here. He's still alive. He's still writing the book. That's the last thing that he should have done. He literally just copies everything that Al Ewing does. So why do we need you? Right? Dude, I was a baker for a while after engineering. I know, really great transition, right? Anyway, I'm being honest when I say, like, you know, I've noticed that with bakers, you could just copy what somebody else does. But, you know, and as an Italian an Italian male, where it's in my blood that I know how to cook pasta. My father was a great cook. You know what I'm saying? My grandfather was a great cook. I'm a pretty damn good cook. People say I'm better than that, but, you know, I try and maintain a little bit of humble. I'm God. Like, you know, you gotta, you know, say, like, when you learn how to cook, that's one thing. But learning how to copy somebody is not learning how to cook. That's learning how to repeat somebody. Learning how to cook is when you can add your own blend of spices and seasonings and all the different little things you do that really make it your signature. You know, you put your little, you know, bam, you know, Emerald Lagasse, you put your bam on it. You know what I'm saying? That is what makes you a great cook. What makes you a great writer. Tom Taylor's proven he is one. But you know the John Byrne rule. Every comic book that you make is someone's first comic book. And if someone's first comic book is this, if someone's first exposure to Tom Taylor is this, after they've already been reading The Immortal Hulk by Al Ewing, they're thinking that Tom Taylor really doesn't have anything new to offer to the game. And I'm being 100% legitimately serious about this, and that breaks my heart because I have never, until this day, found something that Tom Taylor has written that I didn't, like? No, love. X-Men Red, his Spider-Man run, what he did over in freaking DC with that psychopathic, the deceased storyline. It's like, we've seen the story before. No, we haven't. Holy crap, what the hell is this guy doing? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy, and it's crazy good. And he's going to be doing more, this time with the villains. That's not been done on Marvel's side before. Wow. So, I loves me some Tom Taylor. This just tells me that he's human. Prick him and he'll bleed. And he gets pricked like a mother fathead in this one. On the back of the book, the same page that I said I love the image, on the back of the book, that's where you put the whole thing and blah, 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 blah. I'm not a fan of putting the title page anywhere but in the very front of the book. I want to be able to open up my first page of a comic book and right away I see the title page and I see the introduction. I see a quick little blurb about the character itself that you could see in every single page of or every single issue of this comic book character forever. Oh, Immortal Hulk, you know, he was bitten by a radioactive spider when he was the Spider-Man, but you get the gist, right? He was bombarded by gamma radiation, saving young Rick Jones from blah 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 blah. You can have that in every single book so that if somebody only saw a Hulk movie, they come in and like, okay, cool, got an idea of the Hulk. Hey, what's been happening so far in this book since it's the first issue I'm reading? Oh, here's a blurb. Bang, okay. I kind of understand what's going on. Let's read from there. They just told me everything that I should need to know in order to read this comic book. Bam, let's go. Okay, cool, dig it, right? Al Ewing doesn't do that. He chooses to put his stuff in the back of the book. Why? For the most part, it's because he wants to get, he wants to, lead into the story with one of his little quotes, sometimes from the Bible, sometimes from philosophy, maybe sometimes something just completely off the top of his head or he pulls right out of his butt, whatever. That's how he wants to start his books. That's awesome. That's actually how I write. So maybe that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. But yeah, you take from some other part of literature, you put it in your book, and holy crap, that's awesome. That's not what happens here. This is literally just, oh, look, you can't call it plagiarism, but it's just copying off of Al Ewing. And it's just, With great power, there must also come great responsibility. Hey, I'm happy that he decided to put that, the correct quote there. There must also come, not with great power also comes great. No, there must also come. There's the implied, there's the impetus of if. There's the if in there. You know what I'm saying? It's not guaranteed. It's like, if you get this, then you must do that. And then it begs the question, otherwise, what happens? So, yeah, I dig that. And, Ben Parker, blah, blah, blah. And then there's this little thing. This stuff happens before the thing breaks his arm punching the Hulk. Okay, cool. Whatever. I don't care. This is basic. This is just copying. And I looked at it first, and I'm trying to be totally fair, and I was like, hey, man, check it out. Okay, he's trying to show us that this is going to be a very similar vein to what Ewing does, but I didn't realize he's just going to copy everything that he does, and I don't need copying. He puts the stuff at the end like Ewing does. You know why Ewing does this? And I never talked to the man, but I've always understood the reason why he does this is because he left some really awesome title that pretty much gives away the end of the book. So you read the book, you get to the end, you're like, holy crap. Then you turn over and you see, oh, the title is called Bang, and it's like it reinforces the ending, and it's like, wow. You might notice I always tell you the title of a book when I'm reading it. I tell you Immortal Hulk, blah, 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 right? But whenever I read a book, I'll be like, this issue is called such and such and such. But I never do that with the Immortal Hulk comic book, do I? Why? Because I don't want to give away the ending. Here, it doesn't matter. So why is this in the back? Oh, because you're just imitating Al Ewing. Tom Taylor, you're an amazing writer. You don't need to imitate another amazing writer. You just don't. Make it your own. You're not Al Ewing. Al Ewing isn't you. Don't do that. Here's the problem. Besides all those tropes and whatnot, I have to talk about the panel layout. There are multiple panels in here. First off, look at this amazing art. Holy crap. That is gorgeous. Oh, man. I need Molina doing Loki all the time. Nope. He needs to draw a Loki comic book. I've spoken. Oh, wait, no. He should also do Fantastic Four. Because I'm not a huge fan of the way he does Sue Storm, but like Johnny Storm looks good there. The Thing looks really good in here. Spider-Man looks really good in here. Facial expressions, Loki eating a hot dog, and all of a sudden the Fantastic Four show up behind him. Dude, with Banner, dude, that's freaking awesome. Like, his facial expressions are great. Holy crap, I love Molina. I love what Molina's doing in this book. Kind of a saving grace on the book. Look at his action. Look at his action. It's not, exaggerated like Kirby does, but look at it. It's realistic action. There's Banner sitting there like, hey, man, you could tell he's pissed. You could tell that Spider-Man's just a little bit more pissed, and look what you did to me. You don't have to read any of the words that were said here. Do you know what you did to me? That's what he's saying. He's like, wait, hold on. What did I do to you? Oh, my God. That is awesome. Panel layouts, not so hot. Not so hot at all. I wonder if I could find one fairly quickly. Yeah, there are some parts in here where it's like you start here and then you go over here, but there's nothing showing that it goes over here. Like this is where you're trying to imitate somebody. It's art trying to imitate other art. Do you notice the way that Bennett does it? When Bennett does it, he'll have this panel bleed onto this page and end there. So then you can see, oh, this panel starts over here, not at the edge. So it's obvious that it goes over. Pat Brodsky is one of the people who I've noticed does a great job. Back in the day, like Brodsky's old school, right? Back in the day when oftentimes even somebody like Kirby would draw arrows saying, oh, from this panel to this panel to this panel, that's the reading order of how you're supposed to read stuff. Every so often, not too often, but every so often, he would do that. And every artist, for the most part, is known for doing that. Pat Brodsky is the first artist I noticed who it's implied in the panel design, the panel layout, that this is what you read first, then you read this, then you go over here, and then you go over here and finish this page, and then you go over here from not from the top, but from here and finish the rest, because, hey, or, here to here, and then all of this, then here to here, and then go up. Sometimes that's happened. Brodsky's amazing in that regard. This is not amazing in any regard. So good and bad. But the art itself, the pencil work on this, Molina is a freaking boss, bomb, genius, go diggity. You are awesome. Back to Taylor not doing such a great job. I'm sorry. I feel like crap saying bad things about what Tom Taylor, of all people, did. Listen, in comedy, Okay, in stand-up comedy, you have this thing called the callback. I forget which comic book university alumni mentioned it to me, but I was like, I don't remember what this called. This was maybe a year ago, and I still recall to this day that person. I don't remember the name of the person, but somebody actually said that's called the callback. I was like, yes, thank you. So thank you again if you're still watching. You have this thing called the callback, where let's say Dave Chappelle gets up and he starts off with a joke, and he'll get in the first third of his set, he'll say something that's key, and he'll tell you. Boom, he'll let you know, he'll imply this is key. And it's a big joke. It gets a good laugh. Probably one of the best things that he says in the joke, or in the set. And then the second, the second third happens, and then the final third happens. And in the very end, to wrap up that final third, he's about to close out the show. How does he close out the show? With a callback to that joke that was in the first third. Which, what does that do? Not only does it make that joke, not only is the humor of that joke alone funny, but it's even funnier, it's uproarious, because it calls back to this joke. So you're not only laughing at this joke, now you're laughing at that joke again, and the whole thing, it makes the whole show feels like a complete cycle. So you're in the middle of a high when he's just like, thank you everybody, you know what I'm saying, and he leaves, excuse me, thank you everybody, however he says it. Dude's freaking awesome. It's one of the reasons why he's the most successful freaking comedian modern day. Eddie Murphy used to do that. What do you call it? Chris Rock does that. D.L. Hughley does that. The best comedians do that, and it's freaking great. It's freaking great. There is no boring part of a show, because the whole, even if there is, you forget about it, because the whole thing cycles back, and it's amazing. Ewing tries to do that here. But you know the cycle that I just explained? He does it completely wrong in this. So there's a joke about Peter Parker, Parker, and especially, like, what's his name? Banner has to wear the Fantastic Four shirt, okay? He goes and he wears a Fantastic Four shirt, and he's like, oh, hey, check it out. I got the I've got the Captain America, but imagine there's a 4 here instead of a star, all right? And he's like, oh, hey, check it out. I got a Fantastic Four shirt. And it's like, I'm happy to wear this, but it also looks like you guys can't count, because you got 4 people wearing the Fantastic Four shirt and then him wearing the Fantastic Four shirt, so it's actually 5. Yeah, that's cute, I guess. I've seen it before. Again, it feels like more plagiarism. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen this joke a lot of times before, unless this is your first comic book, and then maybe it's kind of funny. But then it gets wrecked, because while you're supposed to wait until the end, like the last thing you do is a callback to that. No, instead, it's like a page later, maybe 2 pages later, but I think it's like a page later where Loki winds up saying the same thing. It's a page later. You don't do a callback a minute later, not even a minute. But that's wrecking it. Now, when you actually throw it in a dumpster, when you beat it to death, put it in a burlap bag, beat it to death a little bit more, throw it in a freaking dumpster, set the damn dumpster on fire, and then drop it off of a 30-story building, and then proceed to urinate on it from the top, I'm just saying that's what happens next. Because it's only like a couple of panels later, Valeria and Franklin Richards go and do the callback again. Okay, dude. You literally beat a joke to death. A joke that wasn't even really funny to begin with. You beat it to death. And it brought down the tone of the comic book so much. And that actually happens more than once, where something is repeated. And it's like, that's not how you tell a joke. I feel like this is Arthur Fleck up there trying to tell a joke, saying in the Joker movie. And Murray, whatever, Robert De Niro is making fun of him, and like, that's what this feels like. That's honestly what this feels like. It feels like you're just making fun of somebody who doesn't understand jokes, but they're trying. But man, this was horrible. This was not good writing at all. Now, what did I mean when I said in the beginning that this was like, oh, callback? What did I mean when I said this was suspect? Maybe this is my conspiratorial mindset. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Believe me. Which is the worst thing you say when you're trying to tell somebody you're not a conspiracy theorist. Believe me. Trust me. Anyway, I find it suspect that you've got one of the best-selling books out there right now, that you turn around and now you want to get a whole bunch of other people doing the book also. Maybe it's just Marvel trying to, hey, check it out. Look what I'm doing. Hey, you like the Immortal Hulk? We'll give you more Immortal Hulk. And we'll give you other people's perspective on it. But that doesn't usually happen. But this is a runaway success of a character who, let's face it, if you know your comic book history, the Incredible Hulk was not a good comic book. When Jack Kirby and Stan Lee were on the book, it was canceled after 6 issues. 6 issues, it was canceled. Then he wound up showing up in the Avengers, and then he showed up in the, what was it? Not Journey into Mystery. Tales of Suspense, I think it was. No, it wasn't Tales of Suspense. Tales to Astonish. He showed up in Tales to Astonish. He wound up replacing Ant-Man. So it was Hulk and Namor in that book. 2 separate stories. And then he finally got his series back again, which, yay. And they still consider it the same volume. Issue number 1 through 6. Issue number 100. Let's go. Interesting. Anyway. The Hulk is not a particularly interesting character. You can love him when you're a kid. He was my favorite character when I was a kid, and then I grew up, and I'm like, Captain America's awesome. So here's the thing. Let me make a bit of an example here. What if suddenly I wanted becoming good enough at writing, my writing got out there, and it was like, holy crap, and Marvel gave me an offer to come in and write a character. Let's say, I'm going to use an example, Captain America. I would be terrified to write Captain America. But let's say I got good enough that I could write Captain America. Cute. I some way, somehow lock in on the key Captain America story that people are like, dude, Captain America's been in publication since like before Marvel Comics was Marvel. And you can't think of that many good stories. You can think of a bunch of bad stories possibly, but for the most part, it's like, yeah, Captain America's this. There's always going to be a steady readership, but for the most part, there haven't been too many great Captain America stories, right? What if I actually hit on the thing where all of a sudden people are like, like Brubaker's Run? What if I was able to do something like Brubaker's Run? And I did this amazing story. And then suddenly, Marvel says, hey, people like Captain America again. Let's put out a bunch of one-shots where other people are doing Captain America. But I want you to use Bill's style of doing things. Because Marvel is known for doing this. Oh, it's a long time ago and nobody who's alive today has done this. But when you think about the idea that Stan Lee wanted to, loves me some Stan Lee. But Stan Lee said, we should try and base all of our art off of Jack Kirby. Because, he is the thing that we can really base the comic book off of. Little did we realize that Stan Lee would actually be the thing that we base all of Marvel off of. But that goes to show his humility. You know what I'm saying? Stan Lee's voice. Hey, true believers, Excelsior. Enough said. DC was copying off of that. They were able to get their hands on Jack Kirby. But they were never able to truly replicate what Stan Lee's done. Okay, that said, God rest the souls of both of these amazing geniuses, revolutionary, and I'm sad that, Kirby died angry at Stan Lee. Because when you really look into the backstory there, Stan wasn't responsible for the thing. Kirby was hoping that Stan Lee would be a better adjunct representative for him, and he simply couldn't. He didn't have that kind of pull. He had pull, but not that kind of pull. Anyway, so Stan Lee said that everybody should start using the layouts of what Jack Kirby's done. So, hey man, here, you see a whole bunch of different, pictures of Jack Kirby's, characters, different characters, Hulk, Thing, Captain America, Spider-Man. Actually, there is actually, what do you call some Spider-Man, but they never used Ditko's layouts for that. So, yeah. And I don't know if Ditko ever actually had to use Kirby's layouts. The first person I've ever heard of, the only person who they said back during that time who didn't have to use Kirby's layouts was Gene Colan. So that right there is a huge deal. And if you're not on Gene Colan, dude, you're missing out on a lot because this guy was amazing. But anyway, all these things being said, Kirby's art was the standard for everybody. So you usually use the layouts that Kirby would do, and you put like tracing paper or whatever over top, and you would, the lights underneath, and you would, trace over his work and then make it your own. So you get his dynamic poses, but you do your own art with it. You tell your own story with it. But it was his dynamic poses that everybody, with the exception of Gene Colan, was expected to use. Okay, sweet. The thing is that Stan Lee wasn't responsible for paychecks. So Kirby never actually got any money for being the art, the eyes, the visuals of Marvel Comics. And that's a shame. And Kirby did get screwed out of a lot when it comes to... He has every reason in the world to be resentful, you know? And maybe Stan Lee could have fought harder. I don't know. He didn't fight hard for himself. So what are you going to do? Everything that he's done, and he only gets $1 million a year. You know, when he was alive, he only got $1 million a year, and that included doing walk-ons for MCU movies. I'm saying, like, dude, Marvel's worth a whole lot more than that. So anyway, it is what it is, right? But now imagine if, I'm writing something and everybody says, at Marvel, hey, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, and base it off of what Professor Bill does. I would be the guy who'd go up and be like, hey, so check it out. Am I going to get paid for that? My story was so great. Yeah. Your characters that you bought, you inherited, and whatnot. Basically, you bought these through whatever trust funds that you have, owners of Marvel and DC, and not DC, what do you call it, Disney. You know what I'm saying? Sure, you bought these characters. But I'm the one who really did these stories, and you're actually having other people copy off of me now and telling other stories like what I'm telling because you're trying to make money. Okay, so you're saying I'm a moneymaker. Can I have some of that money? And then you're in a hard place. I'm a strong union guy. What am I going to do? I'm going to go in as a freelancer, and I'm going to demand some extra money for what they did based off of my specific work. And they're probably going to say no. And then what do I do? Quit? Do I pull a Steve Ditko and just quit? Cute. But then what happens? They've already got a bunch of people that they've shopped around to pick up and start telling your stories. My stories. It feels suspect. I don't trust giant corporations. I probably never will. You know what I'm saying? And I refuse to work for giant corporations, which is why I freelance. And I do this. Yeah, there was seriously a lot wrong with this comic book. And unfortunately, the bulk of it really is that Tom Taylor chose, instead to make an Immortal Hulk story, he wound up just telling an Al Ewing story. That wasn't great. I mean, even the concept itself. Wasn't it Greg Pak who did the Intelligentsia stories in the Incredible Hulk back in the day? So we've already seen Spider Hulk. Are we also going to see Thing Hulk and Cap Hulk? And who was the fourth one? There was a fourth one. Yeah, this wasn't a great book. And honestly, I feel like I maybe screwed up on one certain point or another by not reading this book earlier in the week, so that CBU alumni... I was sick. I did have a toothbrush. I actually got to go pretty soon to get this thing fixed. My dentist actually broke one of my teeth, so I have to go in and get the thing fixed now. Great. Anyhow, so yeah, we've seen this before. We've genuinely seen this before. And I feel like I should have put this review up earlier. I should have read the comic book earlier so that I could forewarn some of you guys who did buy this comic book and maybe feel really disappointed by it, because I am generally nothing but disappointed by this comic book. Like, this was not good in any regard, except for Hulk walking into the waters. that Godzilla moment, man. Anyway, yeah, all things being what they are, if you didn't buy this book, consider saving your money. Unless the things I told you somehow make you go, no, it's good. And if you did like the book, seriously, comments below, that's how I know. I'm more than happy to reread it. I own the book, for crying out loud. I bought the book. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy to reread it and look at it with, your lens. I'm happy to check that out. For the sake of conversation, though, thank you for watching this video. I got a couple other videos here that you can check out. I'm sure you've already subscribed, but, maybe consider leaving a like. And if an advertisement shows up at the end of this video, please, I beseech upon thee, let it play through. All right? Put your phone down and walk away. Or, you know what? Look at another video. One of mine or somebody else's, but in a different screen so that the ad can play at the end. That's the only way that all of your favorite YouTubers get paid. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.